via Get Up. I believe this was actually yesterday from Rex Ryan on ESPN. He actually made the case for the Browns starting a different rookie quarterback, but I don't really know that he was actually supporting Shedeur Sanders here. Let's hear what he had to say.
Stefanski is one of an outstanding coach, all right? But why the hell isn't he putting Shedeur Sanders? We're all waiting to see the Shedeur Sanders be the guy or Gabriel, whatever. Something's missing. Something's missing with this kid. This kid talks. He runs his mouth like I could be a starting quarterback with his arms crossed like this. Get your ass in the front row and study and do all that. If I know, the whole league knows. Quit being an embarrassment that way. You got the talent to be the quarterback. You should be. You should be embarrassed that you're not the quarterback now.
Interesting comments, obviously, from Rex Ryan. And I do think, by the way, again, audio courtesy of ESPN, I do think there's, Rex is connected. He's a former NFL coach. I know he knows people. I also covered Rex Ryan for a couple years when I was in Buffalo or working in, Western New York. And I also know that he tends to talk out of his ass. So, and that's part of the reason why he had a guaranteed job for him at ESPN when he was fired by the Bills. So I don't know that I fully believe that he knows everything going on in the building with Shedeur Sanders necessarily, but he made it seem that way. And I'm sure there are plenty of people out there who believe that this what he's saying to be true, because that's the exact sort of narrative around Shedeur that is reportedly why he got drafted in the 5th round and wasn't a day 2 pick at the very least, because they don't think his attitude was very good. But what's interesting is when you talk to Shedeur, when you hear the Browns talk about Shedeur, all you sort of see is a guy who's out there, during training camp. He was out there early on the field. He was out there late after practice. He talks about how all the things he's learned, how yes, he would prefer to be starting, but that, what he's doing right now, he's learned a lot from, and he's continuing to show up every day, and he's leaving it in God's hands, whatever the situation's going to be. So I see a guy that seems to be doing things all the right way, but Rex is implying something very different, and it's almost like this question of, is Shedeur to blame for not being ahead of Dillon Gabriel on the depth chart? Is he to blame for not being as ready as he said last week he thinks he is to potentially be a starting quarterback in this league?
The whole quote was so strange. The whole, if I know, the whole league knows, did somebody inside Berea give that to Rex Ryan? That's what I really want to know. And I know that I'll never get that answer. But are they already setting us up for, this is a quarterback that we just don't like, and a quarterback that we probably never really even wanted to draft, and it came the 5th round, and we had a 6th and a 7th round pick that we wanted to get rid of so we could get some UDFAs, and we figured let's just sell some jerseys and bring Shedeur Sanders in here, because that's kind of what it feels like to me, man. And it feels kind of strange, because I'm with you, Spencer. I haven't seen anything negative about Shedeur Sanders since he arrived in Cleveland outside of 2 speeding tickets. Yeah. So if Rex Ryan is upset about the fact that Shedeur Sanders said that he believes that he's ready to play, what do you want him to say? That he's not ready to? No, I'm actually good. I hope they put Dillon Gabriel out there, and I hope that it's not until next year until I get my start. What? How weird would that come across? And then the other piece of the entire thing, not sitting in the front of the class in meeting rooms. I saw all these videos, and obviously the Colorado Buffalo people are nuts. I know that's been covered at length, but they've got all of these videos of there's plenty of proof that Shedeur sits in the front of the room in meetings. So I don't think he's a bad actor behind the scenes by any stretch.
Yeah.
I don't know where all this came from. This felt so nasty and mean-spirited because the kid said he wanted to play. That's what got you that worked up.
You're right about.
Hey Rex, guess what? They're probably every backup quarterback that you ever had on any of your rosters. Those guys probably all wanted to play.
Yeah, I think you're right about the weirdness of this from Rex and where it's coming from. It almost just feels like he was riding the exhausted narratives out there about Shedeur that we knew already, the pre-draft stuff, and the fact that recently we had the report, obviously before the Ravens game, about him, telling Baltimore not to draft him, which, by the way, Dion basically confirmed that was true when he was on the New Heights podcast, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago. And so, it seems like some of these things, it just seems like he's leaning into those Rexes and perpetuating it as well, clearly he did all these other things, so he's clearly not working that hard out in Cleveland. But you're right, all we've seen since he's been here is a guy who's trying to work hard. I also it just doesn't add up for me. Like Shedeur said, and Dion also said that Shedeur told him not to show up to practice and come watch him in Cleveland because he's not where he wants to be yet.
Right.
Like stuff like that. Does that really strike me as someone who is not working to like? If that's what he's telling his dad, like, nah, man, like, don't show up because I'm not where I need to be yet. And like, I don't want you to see me just like getting third string reps. I want you to see me when I'm starting. That doesn't sound like somebody who's just like lollygagging and like not showing up in the building. It doesn't add up for me, which is why I'm gonna be honest, man. Like, I don't necessarily watch Get Up all that much anyway. But obviously, when somebody on that space is saying these things, like, we're gonna talk about it, of course. But of all the people on that show, Rex is the one that I probably zone out the most if I ever have it on. Because like I said, I'm just accustomed to believing that Rex Ryan, of all people, is just talking out of his ass.
I just don't understand. Like he came into that take with both fists up. Like, he was so mad about it.
He was very hurt.
And it's like,
somehow.
Why? Like, Shedeur wants to get his start. Guess what? So do half of Browns fans. Like, if you polled 100 people on the streets of Cleveland who should start at quarterback for the Browns, there are a lot of people that would tell you Shedeur over Dillon Gabriel. And obviously, it's not going to shake that way because of the way that the depth chart is and because of the way that the NFL draft went down, really because of what happened in that Rams game to Shedeur Sanders. But people want to see him. So it just felt very strange that Rex Ryan took it upon himself to be like the wet blanket of the day yesterday and to just throw cold water all over that thing, because I really don't think Shedeur's done anything wrong through all of the interviews that he's been subjected to, through the stuff with his dad going on New Heights. Like, remember, one of the big pre-draft red flags of the people here locally and nationally that didn't want Shedeur in Cleveland was because, okay, buckle up the band because here comes the Shedeur Sanders drama. It's going to be the Shedeur Sanders show. That's been the least of the Browns' concerns thus far. Like, if anything, start up the drama a little bit. Maybe talk a little bit more and pressure the Browns into putting you on the field, because the product that they roll out there every Sunday certainly ain't working. Yeah,
I just don't know. Like, for somebody who talked out of turn a lot as a coach, I mean, listen, I was in that media room when this was the year that Tom Brady was suspended for the first 4 games of the season after Deflategate or whatever. And the Bills played the Patriots the 4th game of that timeline. And it was Jacoby Brissett was going to be the starter. But Rex Ryan, they used to do conference calls with the opposing coach back then. Like, you'd have it on the phone in the room. We'd like talk to him, whatever. And like a couple players. And I remember Julian Edelman was like on the conference call, and Rex Ryan walks in, and he says, he makes up a name. And he's like, "Hey, this is Walt something from the Buffalo News. Julian, you getting any reps at quarterback this week?" Because he was trying to like figure out if he was going to be like used in the game plan. And I think Julian Edelman kind of understood it was Rex. Like, I think he could pick it up in his voice or whatever. And he kind of gave like a BS answer, as Patriots players always did under Bill Belichick. But it's still like, those are the things, when I hear Rex Ryan speak, those are the things I think about. And I know it was all in good fun in that moment, but I'm just like, this guy was a rodeo clown as a coach. He's just being an even bigger rodeo clown on a television platform that's looking for ratings, and that's like, they've leaned into that even more now with like certain things they've cut over the years. Like, I just don't give a lot of credence to what he says, even understanding that he's connected, even understanding that he's a former coach. So it just felt very personal for Rex Ryan. I don't know what he wants Shedeur Sanders to say. And I know the thing people have thrown back in my face recently when I talked about this last week was, well, why were they even talking to a third-string quarterback? If this was any other team, they wouldn't be... And I'm like, I think you're right, first of all. If you did talk to a third-string quarterback, he'd probably say, yeah, I want to start, but right now this is where I'm at, right?
Right.
Like, I think I can be better than certain guys. I'm sure most quarterbacks, even if they don't say it, they probably feel that way. But at the same time, I think we can all agree that Shedeur isn't your typical third-string quarterback. And that's very fair. I understand maybe people didn't want to invite that into the locker room for that reason, but like, I have no problem with him being confident in himself. And if anybody did have a problem with that, and if Rex Ryan had a problem with that, and that's what sparked these comments, because he's just regurgitating the same talking points on why Shedeur needs to stop talking and focus on football. To me, he has focused on football. So I just don't know where this is coming from. I think you're spot on with this. Like, it just felt like it was a personal thing for Rex Ryan.
Yeah, it was strange.
And it was weird that he started the whole thing with like, we've all been waiting to see him. Why won't he play him? He's like, why don't you get your ass in the front row? I'm like, so do you want to see him? Do you not want to see him? I don't understand what are you rooting for him? You're not rooting for him?
He was all over the board, man. And that's what made me that's why like my brain immediately went to like, did somebody put him up to this? Because like,
maybe.
Why did he just come guns a-blazing for Shedeur Sanders after Shedeur really didn't say anything wrong? I think another layer of why, like, because even like, I get asked and like people locally are like, well, who cares what the third round quarterback has to say anyway? Like, it's going to be Dillon Gabriel. Like, Shedeur's newsworthy because your owner before the season started said that his coaching staff knows that it's important to see both rookies this year. So it's notable because this is a guy that could start games for you this year. You see the headline that came out a couple weeks ago when the Browns were getting ready to play the Ravens that Shedeur didn't want to be in Baltimore because he wants to play. Like, there's a parallel universe where Shedeur Sanders making his NFL debut this weekend because Lamar Jackson, all signs are pointing to, is not going to be able to go with the Baltimore Ravens. Like, this is a guy, even though he's the third string quarterback right now and he was a 5th round pick and the draft slide happened, he's closer to getting on the field than a lot of people realize. Like, you guys realize that if they give you Dillon Gabriel, like everybody's clamoring for, you're a snap away from seeing Shedeur Sanders.
You're 100% right. It's the whole like be ready and stay ready type thing that the backup quarterbacks have to have. I have no idea where this came from for Rex Ryan, other than it seems like he has a personal vendetta against Shedeur Sanders. Who knows? But what we can say is that I don't necessarily think Shedeur Sanders will be playing this week.